How's it going, everybody? My name is Ged. This is Fabulous Flix. With me, as always, because I wouldn't know what to do without him, Mr. Tyler, the Rogue Leader. How are you?
What's up? It's going pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, it's new. It's exciting. We're shaking.
Took the young lad ice fishing today and caught a whole lot of nothing. But I bought an Aquaview camera, so we see all the fish down there. Haven't figured out how to get them on the hook yet, though.
Interesting. And how did the young fella like his first ice fishing experience?
He did well.
In the bloody cold.
He did well. He's for a young child, he has great patience for fishing, which I'm very appreciative of the fact.
I must admit, I have never ice fished, and I have not even fished in years. And I hear it's amazing. I just don't know if I could do it. I just don't know.
The key is to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you'll hate your life.
Fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of having to sleep in uncomfortable spots, let's segue this right into The Last of Us episode 4, coming off of a very emotional, tearjerker side story. With Frank and Bill that left me in tears on the couch, and also left it with the single highest I have rated any show since we have ever started rating shows. We picked this back up with the main characters. So there's a couple things I want to touch on. The big one, obviously, is the evolution of the bond between Ellie and Joel, which we can definitely leave till last because it's probably the biggest talking point.
Yep.
Number 2, I want to talk about dangerous humans.
They're always the worst. They're always the main enemy in any post-apocalyptic show, I feel. It's always humans.
Yeah, so let's dive right into that. So let's talk about violent humans. It seems like we go from the koozie of where they were to now this other violent gang war almost in Kansas City, which is led by a very familiar face on the one side. I couldn't place her, but as soon as I saw her, I was like, I have seen you in a whole bunch of other stuff.
Really? I didn't recognize her. What was she from?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I actually watched it this evening, and I have not taken the time.
You're just proclaiming she's in a bunch of things.
Yeah, as soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh my goodness, she looks super familiar. I don't have my multi-screen setup tonight, so I am unable to check. I'm unable to check on that. So Let's talk about dangerous humans. So they get to Kansas City. And what do you take of what's going on there?
Well, first off, I'm assuming in the game, Kansas City's a decent detour for them, is my guess. Because they took their time to introduce like the leader, like the main muscle guy, again, the woman who's kind of leading everyone. They're on a search for somebody. We don't quite know what they did, but she thinks that what Joel and Ellie did is related to that. Yeah. But before we even got there, I couldn't help but think like, why would you ever try to like go through a city knowing like, you know what I mean? It seems like the worst decision in the world to go through a city, not only because of the humans, but like back in Boston, mad infected everywhere. Right. Yeah. And then he even makes the comment when they're in the woods, we're too remote. There's nothing to worry about. But yet, I know they're like, I don't know, like, are they really in a rush? But like, I guess they're in too much of a rush. So they try to take a shortcut through the heart of KC. That to me was like a little bit of a minor gripe. But again, I feel like in the show, there's probably some missions that go on in KC. So they had to find their way there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's again, this group isn't, what they say, FEMA? What's the...
For the people. Oh, Fedra. They're not Fedra. No,
they're not Fedra, and they're not Fireflies, and they're not. They weren't something else either. So they're they're
called For the People, which is written all over, and they're hunting this guy Henry and what appears to be his son. The leader of this other group feels that basically that they murdered her brother.
Do they run KC, you think? Or you think they're just a faction within KC?
I mean, they're pretty well armed.
Yeah.
They're not the militia on site of KC. It'd be hard to imagine it.
Okay.
Even her comments of when Ellie and Joel get ambushed and come up on the upper hand of it, even their comments of, well, this must be Henry. He's bringing people in. Like, there's a lot of paranoia there. There's a lot wrong going on.
And when they get to work, right, when she sends everyone out to look, like they like roll out and they're like tearing down every house, building, apartment building for searching. So yeah, they must be the de facto power broker there.
And they're so hungry. She's so hungry to find this Henry. There's literally like a hive of infected about to burst through the floor. And she tells the main muscle guy, who by the way is rather intimidating, to not bother warning the others. Like, she's so hung up on this concept of revenge that she's letting this hive fester. When I'm going to assume that they have the firepower to go and wipe this out.
What'd you think when she was? It was an interesting line when he's like, I'm a doctor, you won't kill me or whatever. And then those people come back. She's like, oh, do you need a doctor? Like, no, they're dead. And she just immediately goes back and kills him immediately.
And it was like, her doctor.
Yeah.
Like, he literally was her delivery doctor. And I think that that's a very important point, that like, this isn't a random person who says he's a medical doctor. This person literally brought her out of the birthing canal.
Yeah.
And she even smokes this guy.
And from a logical standpoint, no matter how much you might hate a doctor, I feel like that's a skill set that is not in high supply in a post-apocalyptic world.
But probably in very high demand.
Yes, exactly. In very, very much high demand. And she just full on awesome for revenge, right? So,
yeah. And at the very end, obviously, we're going to talk about the relationship part with Ellie Joel in a minute. At the very end, we see the first glimpse of Henry and what appears to be Henry's son or younger brother. What does your gut tell you? Are they the bad guy?
Is that who that was at the end?
Yeah. So when they were up looking for them, they saw the pictures of these two people in like superhero capes.
Oh.
So he's like, so she said, oh, they're running low on food. And at the end, you saw the painted eyes. So I'm going to assume that this is Henry and Henry's younger brother or son or whoever it is.
That's a good catch. I totally was oblivious to that.
Yeah. I don't think they're the bad guys.
No, I don't think so either.
Not that there's really any good guys out there right now, but I don't think they're the villains. I mean,
is Joel the villain?
Joel is definitely Ellie's fault. She should probably execute that one.
She's like, have you killed innocent people? Just doesn't say a word.
Yeah, so let's dive into the Joel and Ellie thing. So she hides the gun. Yeah.
Let me just, I want to comment because you brought this up at the very beginning. I don't know if it was intentionally or not. What kind of psycho sleeps on the ground without at least putting something under the sleeping bag? Like, anytime I've been camping, you normally got to sleep on something or at least raise yourself a little bit, or else you just get soaked.
Yeah.
Like, there's the box of the truck. They could have slept in the back of that. There's a tarp clearly in the truck. Like, put that tarp down. I don't know. As a person who goes camping, I was just like, I just couldn't shake that they just rolled their sleeping bag like literally on the ground. Yeah. But hey, it is what it is. I guess when you're in survival mode, maybe you've done so like camped out and slept in so many shitty places. Sleeping in a sleeping bag safe in the woods might seem like a little bit of a luxury.
Yeah. So Ellie hides this gun, and she has to use it. Very cool scene, pretty tense, pretty uncomfortable in a good way. And it's interesting because you finally see Joel trying to communicate with her.
I love his reaction because it wasn't like, what are you doing with that gun? It was like kind of silence, acceptance, and then okay, yeah, she kind of knows what she's doing. Well, let's make sure she knows what she's doing and then give her a little training. I
Yeah.
I liked that, not necessarily like she was bracing herself for getting in shit.
Oh yeah, for
And
discipline, for sure.
he flipped the script a little bit, which I thought was a good, as you point, like that's a good kind of olive branch, build that relationship situation.
Yeah, yeah, showing her how to hold the gun properly with left palm under, to pull it
Yeah,
down. If you've ever fired, if you've ever gone to a gun range, it's literally exactly how they teach you to hold the weapon, finger off
yeah,
trigger. It's very, very
yeah,
cool. I've done it a couple times. And yeah, and almost this apologetic, like, I'm sorry you had to do that.
yeah.
I'm sorry you had to go
You
through
shouldn't
that.
have to
And
do
she's
that at your
like,
age. Yeah,
but you're happy you did. And he's like, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But it
so
was interesting because she said it wasn't the first time she had to hurt somebody.
yeah. And
I
then
hope
she
I hope we
said
get that
she
story.
didn't. Yeah, then she said she didn't want to talk about it. So it'll be interesting when he starts talking about Tess more, and then maybe she opens up about that a little bit. Although I felt he brought up Tess a couple times this episode, so he wasn't quite the,
Yep.
the his lips weren't quite sealed like he made the original impression they would be.
Yeah. And tell me you didn't laugh at the diarrhea is hereditary. It
Yeah.
runs in your genes joke. I mean,
I enjoyed the porno mag joke actually in the
oh
truck.
my, I want to see what all the fuss is about. I
Yeah.
don't even walk around with this thing.
Why are the pages stuck together?
And she's messing with him the entire time. He's like,
Yeah.
and she's like, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, that was funny. But between that and the puns, oh my goodness.
Yeah, the stupid book of jokes she's been reading, the whole time.
Scarecrow, because he was a standout in his field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she set up all the bad ones for the hereditary one at the end, which I thought was well done.
So good.
Yeah.
And it was good to see him laugh.
Yeah.
You can imagine for this character how long it's been since they have laughed.
Yeah.
So I liked that. I liked that a lot. Anything else you want to touch on?
I thought again when they're traveling, the cinematography was beautiful. I just love the way they dress up rooms to look like, like nature has kind of run its course for a decade, sort of thing, right?
Yeah, the highway. That highway grown over. Oh,
yeah. So all that stuff I think is A+. I thought the little bit of the action scene we got was pretty tense and good. Again, I was like, why the heck are you going through the middle of a city? But I get it, drama. I felt bad for them. Like, man, you guys just literally geared up at Frank and Bill's, and now you've lost everything.
And
like
you
the
could have
whole
just
first
backed
couple
out,
yeah.
like whipped around. There's gas, like you can find gas.
And I was expecting him to pop that hood and take the battery out and like take the battery with him when they ran, because of how important batteries are, right?
Yeah.
But no. But then again, it also kind of shows the seriousness of they had to get out of there because they were going to come down on him pretty hard.
No, for sure.
Yeah. But no, I thought it was good. I liked that they climbed up basically a skyscraper. I know they wanted to get a view, but like how you put the glass down and all that. I thought maybe you'd put the glass on the other side of the door, but might be a little too late if they're within like gunpoint range. But unless you're looking to take prisoners, I guess. But it was good. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I really have nothing else. I love the fact that we got back to the main story. Obviously, the side story was incredibly well done. I love the development of wherever this bond is going with these two. I am very curious to see what happens in KC and how we unravel the story of the girl that I know I've seen in a bunch of stuff and I can't place right now. So what do you say? You want to rate this?
Yeah, let's rate it.
I will go first.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. It didn't knock my socks off. I love the way the story progressed. This to me is a solid. I'll give it 8.4.
8-4?
Give it 8-4 because to me it qualified in the 8s because I was really engaged. It had really good action scene. I loved the relationship development. I mean, it didn't touch last week for me because last week was a very special episode. But yeah, I thought it was a good 8-4, and for anybody who watches it, that is a great score on this channel. So
yeah, we're sharing a brain this week. I'm also 8-4. Again, solid from start to finish, but it really was a setup episode, right? It's setting up what like the drama that's going to unfold in KC.
yeah,
But we got why it's 8-4 though is again we got some nice, much needed character development for our two co-main leads. Like I said, the cinematography is beautiful. It's just I don't know, it's just a very enjoyable show to watch so far. And again, like you can't always have those high 9s, right? Like
no.
those are rare. You gotta the story itself has to build up for those big payoffs, even though that one didn't really have a build up to it at all. It was just out of nowhere. But yeah, I got a feeling, just like with Andor, I got a feeling our escape from KC, whenever that comes, will probably have a pretty good payoff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I will see you Wednesday evening.
Yes.
For hopefully a building on of last week's episode of Bad Batch. And
let's hope.
It's really all I got. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. Tyler, the Rogue Leader. I hope things are going well, and I will see you Wednesday.
All right.
All right.
Later, buddy.
Cheers.